In this episode of the podcast, you're going to hear a conversation that Ramin and I had back in mid-December 2020 when I was still in Austin, and I had just discovered the beauty and art of pigeons flying. All right, stay with me. I had never thought about pigeons or that they were beautiful creatures in the air. I had thought I'd seen plenty of pigeons in my life, and I had discovered everything worth discovering about them, which is not much. They seemed totally unremarkable and like creatures that I didn't deem worthy thinking about or paying attention to until I had a new vantage point, a new perspective, and I'd made a personal discovery that inspired me and added a lot of beauty to my days in Austin. And I wanted to share it with you. I believe you might be surprised by the story, as well as maybe inspired a little bit to walk through life with more open eyes and open minds, and maybe a perspective that will allow us all to make new discoveries that lay in plain sight. Enjoy.
I really don't want to bring this up, but I will. Pigeons. The least remarkable animal I never think about. Out of a long list of animals I never think about. It's at the very top of animals I never really care about and never think about. And until recently, where I've moved into this apartment and I'm overlooking the top of a different building. And on the top of the building, a lot of pigeons congregate. Nothing interesting yet. But what I've noticed and what I've continued to watch every day for the past week is how small groups of these pigeons, sometimes it's large groups, but mostly it's, I don't know, maybe 20 of them at a time, leap up into the sky from that top of that building, and they fly these beautiful formations, and they fly up and down, and they loop, and they just fly formation, and then they get back to the top of the building and they just chill there for a second. And then they start deciding to fly again. And they're not flying somewhere. They're not flying from point A to point B. They're just flying. And they're flying beautifully, actually, surprisingly beautifully. And there's poetry in it. And then there's a second swarm and does their own little, like, their loops and down and up and left and right. And then sometimes they join and then they're becoming a bigger swarm and they dance in the sky. That's all they do. It's a beautiful, artful flying together in a dance formation, sort of flying in the sunset. And it's absolutely mesmerizing. It's really beautiful. And every time they land, I go, oh, it's pigeons. Who would have thought? Pigeons. I never thought that pigeons would fly like this. I always just thought pigeons are like so dumb and they're just like whatever animals. And when they fly, they just fly from one point to another point with more food. But I never, or fly away from danger, but never thought of pigeons as like this artistic bird that enjoys flying and flies artfully. I never thought of it that way. Not that I ever thought of pigeons that much, but it's just been surprising that I'm like, wow, this animal that I thought of as very basic, very like just three instincts.
And unremarkable, yeah.
Very unremarkable and just goes to food, goes away from danger, sleeps, like just a shit, eats, sleeps, and flies to food, closer to food, flies away from. There's nothing really artful in it. It's not like some beautiful bird of the woods or something, or one of the great birds that we all admire and we symbolize in our cultures. It's just a fucking pigeon. First of all, I didn't know that pigeons would fly in flocks. Never knew, never noticed, never heard of. And then they would fly. They literally for hours jump off the roof and just fly beautiful formations in loops. They fly, 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 and then get back on the roof. And they chill, and then whoever the leaders or whatever the intelligence of that group dictates, and the next one leaps, and boom, all they leap, and they're just flying to fly. And I'm like, wow, this is beautiful, and I've never thought of this creature as being capable of beauty and of even enjoying or participating in something that seems to me as doing something to do it, like just flying for the sake of flying versus flying somewhere or away from something. This is super interesting. I don't know why it's so compelling to me, but it's almost more beautiful than watching beautiful birds fly, because they've unveiled this beauty inside of something that I felt was more or less kind of worthless ugliness.
Yeah.
And so I'm like mesmerized by watching pigeons fly now. Like, I don't know, I'm just like,
That's dope. I didn't know that too. I never appreciated the flight of the pigeon.
yeah. And it's even usually my curiosity might dictate to me to want to research this and be like, why are they flying? How are they flying? Let me learn more about it. And I was like, fuck no. I don't want to know what the science is behind of this. I don't want to know the reasons. I don't want to know the stories. Nothing that I can read will make it more pretty and beautiful than what I'm observing right now. It is artful and it's beautiful. What am I looking for? An explanation for what? For what? To do what? What?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right? What chances are there that the explanation will make it more beautiful and more artful? Very little. But there's a good chance that if I research more about it, I'll read some other things about pigeons I don't like, or some like thing that this is the utility, they're doing this to do. I don't want to know that shit. I don't care. I don't want to be a pigeon expert. I may never experience this again, but I may never live anywhere again where I can watch this as much as I do here. But I tell you what, boom, now this has changed. I will never look at a pigeon the same way. Anytime I'll look at a pigeon, I'll think about, I know you fuckers, when nobody's looking, you little fuckers are beautifully flying in the air, artfully, together. I know you're doing it. Nobody else knows, but I know. I saw it with my own eyes. You're not tricking me. You're not that dumb or that ugly. You're kind of creative and beautiful. You're doing something. You love flying. I know that about you now. You know, you don't just love fucking breadcrumbs. You love flying. Who would have thought? I appreciate you and your flying. That's it. That's it. Now, like forever, I will look at pigeons and go, you guys got a secret, but I know about it. I saw it, and I think it's dope.
Dope.
It's my pigeon story for you. There you go.
There you go. Beautiful story.
I even thought about taking a video of it, and even that felt corrupted and ugly to me. Like, why? For what purpose?
I get it.
What am I going to do with that? Post it on Instagram? Who gives a shit? I love this right now. This is all I need. I don't need to capture this. I will not. I'm just observing this and thinking, motherfucker, pigeons can fly. Who would have thought they fly beautifully? I am blessed by the beauty of pigeons flying.
Yeah. You can't put that experience in a box and then open it anytime you want or give it to someone, but you've had it already.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's some things less and less in our lives. Many things are not to be captured; they're just to be experienced. That's it. That moment, if you get out of first person to capture it, you've missed it.
Yeah.
Missed it. You've corrupted it. You've never really been there. You can watch a video, but you were not there. Right? You missed the moment. When I watch them fly and I'm like, wow, this is so pretty. I have to leave myself. I have to leave that moment to find my phone and to do the video. And then I'll look at the video and I'll go, oh, it doesn't look that nice on this shot. Maybe the lighting should be. And what am I doing now? I'm just fucking myself. All I'm doing is I'm fucking myself. Well, I could just keep sitting here and just feeling amazed by the beauty of these birds flying. And that's what I choose to do. And it's so weird that I thought about it a couple of times. I was like, I should mention this to Ramin. This is kind of weird and interesting. And then I always forget. And today when I was watching them flying, I was like, today is the day I will talk about this. I'm finally ready.
It's a dope story. I love it. I'm glad you did it.
There you go.